All right, my friends, got a bunch of Q&As I want to get to. We're going to start with old Betsy there. Tickle, tickle. Oops, I can't do that right. Tickle, 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 Betsy. And then, of course, we got Pablo sitting right under my feet here, which I might bring him later on. So, Jim from Georgia says, Josh, are you a fiduciary? I watch your videos regularly and good sound advice with a good mix of humor. Thanks for all you do. I guess. I don't need... I'm so unique, Jim, in terms of how we do this that I'd have nothing to sell. So I don't know if you can. I mean, look, I get no commissions on anything. I guess by default I'd be a fiduciary, but I don't even want to claim that title because the idea that a fiduciary somehow means one is more capable, more secure, more sincere. I don't buy it for 2 seconds flat. I've had this a couple times before. Being a fiduciary while charging people 1% a year in assets under management. I just have a moral objection to that. And yet somehow fiduciaries get away with that as opposed to a commission salesperson. That's bad, but the fiduciary who charges 1% a year is good. I just, yeah, not a fan of that. So but I have nothing to sell, so I have no commission. So I guess I would fall on the fiduciary role. But anyway, I just don't get caught up in the fiduciary stuff. It's not worth it. All right. Here's a guy, our adjusted gross income is over 200,000. That's why we thought we should convert to Roth after we quit work and have almost zero income. Exactly. We should have about 10 years to convert. So when the time comes, I have to figure out how much to convert each year to keep our taxes as low as possible. Don't get me wrong. We feel blessed and we'll be fine. I'm just trying to make sure we do the best we can with what God has entrusted us. All right, so he's going to retire at 55. He has no debt, a couple of homes, 2 are rentals. About almost $2 million in pre-tax dollars. Military retirement starting at 60, which tells me he's in the reserves or a National Guard. We have Roth 401k options at work. Okay, so... all right, so here's a good position to be in. He's making good money. 200,000 is their AGI. He's got he'll have a military pension at 60, almost $2 million in his IRAs, 401ks, and he's got 2 rental houses he's drawing income on. So, he will have income once he. So he's gonna cut out at 55. He should not do Roth 401ks. He should not be contributing to Roth 401ks now, simply because this not. I mean, he could certainly use a tax deduction more now than in the future. But the minute he separates from service, he should be doing Roth conversions, absolutely, especially before the pension kicks in. So he'll have his military pension at 60. He'll have Social Security. He's gonna have his rental income. But yeah, he should be doing Roth conversions ASAP. So if he cuts out at 55, hey buddy. If he cuts out at 55, he should be on that like white on rice doing Roth conversions without question. Now at 60, it'll be less beneficial because he'll have his military pension. But the point is, no, he's got my shoes. Hold on just a second for a chew toy for him. Go get it. So this guy should definitely wait to do any Roth until he cuts work, and he should maximize those suckers like crazy, man. So if he had $2 million and he has 15 years in which to convert it, he's looking at almost like $200,000 a year to get that fully converted before he hits 70. That might be a little bit too much, but that's a tough one there, man. That's a tough one. But you just got to play the tax numbers for sure. But again, taxes aren't going down; they're only going up. So you got to be careful there. But take advantage of the taxes while you can. That's a tough one there. That's tough. All right, let's go on. Hold on just a second. Guy had written back, Bob, from some French-sounding place, so I'm not sure. Do I have any? Have I done any videos on MLPs, Master Limited Partnerships? I understand they have different tax rules, but I've only heard the K1 tax form, which can be challenging. What are your thoughts on Master Limited Partnerships? If you got the word partnership in there, I run for the hills. That's all there is to it. And the reason for that is because literally the K1. I'm telling you, man, what a flipping nightmare. Good boy, Pablo. Good boy. Those K1s, waiting on those K1s to come out in April sometimes, and the rules are they have to be out by March 31st. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how many people who you talk to for financial advisory. You're like, all right, well, let me see your 1040, and they're like, I haven't got it done yet. You're like, dude, what? It's April. He said, I haven't got my K1. And like, it's so I stay away from it, man. And I guess they do corrected K1s too. Just the whole thing is a nightmare. Look, I don't know anything about it. I don't invest in it. All I know is my experience with partnerships and clients who had partnerships of whatever degree it is. K1s, be it MLP, K1 through a partnership in a business firm. It's just a pain, man. So I would steer far away from that. But I'll leave that to you to determine. I'm sure there's value. I'm sure there's opportunity there. I just don't know anything about it because my preference is to keep it simple, stupid. Anytime we're adding K1s to the tax form, whew, that's a nightmare. So that's just my opinion. All right, we got, all right, here's my man Don from South Carolina. He's been listening and reading all the recession crap the last few days. Am I crazy for not being overly worried? Even my better half is asking, aren't you going to get out of the market? A third of my retirement savings is in the employer 401k. The other 2/3 is in an IRRA. I'm not sure what the IRRA is. That's invested in dividend aristocrat stocks, currently earning about 17 a year. That's not too shabby, man. He'll be 60 in January and plans on leaving the workforce 2 years hence. I'm building up cash like crazy, as well as maxing out Roth IRA contributions. That, man, perfectly. I will live off a small pension, some rental income, and my cash, until taking Social Security at 68, 70. Maybe I'm not so crazy as always. All right, yeah, I think spot on. Recession, who cares? In fact, I'll go to First Trust. I'll put a link in the show notes. Brian Westbury talks about the recession, the inverted yield curve, and why it is different this time. And anytime you hear that, it's different this time, you always got to get nervous. But he talks about it, Brian Westbury, chief economist at First Trust Advisors, the antidote to conventional wisdom, the guy who called mark-to-market accounting on March 9, 2009, by the way. And he says, look, it's different now because we have all this liquidity out there in the market today, all this tons and tons and tons of stuff. He says we got just sitting on this huge amounts of cash. He says you can't just simply say it's recessionary because of inverted yield curve. And again, I'll put a link to the show notes, but his video is fantastic. I wonder if I could somehow make that. I wonder if I could make that work. Now, let's go over these Q&A first, and then we'll go back to Brian Whisper's. I'll put a link in there. All right, so, I mean, but even if recession happens, what do you flip and do? It happens all the time, and what are you going to do about it? You're going to, I mean, you build up your cash portfolio, you have stocks, and you ride it out. I mean, it's just there's nothing else to do. That's my thing. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, let me pause. It's from Michael from Texas, and he's 58 years old. He's been single since 45. He works in the state of Texas, and it's mandatory they pay into Social Security and the TRS, the teacher retirement system, even though he's not a teacher. He has $60,000 a CD that matures next month and would like to start investing $500 a month or so into something. There you go, man, good. They have a 403B plan at work, but no matching funds. They do match the TRS pension plan. He asks, is a 403B a good option? I don't see how much income he has. I'm going to presume it's not much. If they don't match it, I don't think you should do it, man. I don't think so, sir. I would absolutely avoid the 403B if they didn't match. Look, I don't know what your income is. If you're making $1 million, yeah, you can probably use a tax deduction for sure. No way. I'd pay a little bit more tax now to avoid a lot more in the future without question. On top of that, we know for a fact, well, not for a fact, but we can ascertain that the tax rates are going up absolutely once the Trump tax bill goes away. So I wouldn't be doing the 403B. And in fact, that goes for everybody. If you don't have a match on your 401k, I wouldn't do it. By default, I wouldn't do it. Now, there are exceptions to every rule, but by default, if there's no match on your 401k, 403B, simple IRA, SEP, well, I guess you'd be doing SEP. What else? TSP, 403B, 401k. Seems like I'm missing something, but there is no match. I wouldn't be doing it. Again, every situation dictates, but generally speaking, I'd stay away if you don't get the match. Hope this helps, sir. A little bit dated because it says go Bolts. That's when Tampa Bay Lightning looked real good to take the Stanley Cup. And, of course, they got swept in the first round. But he says, thanks for the reminder about the county tax exemptions. We stopped by the tax assessor and we updated our exemptions. We already had the homestead exemption and the 62-year-old exemption, but this lady updated them so they were both covered, husband and wife. So that's fantastic. I tell you, I just got my tax bill. It was over here the other day, my county taxes, and it went down significantly. In fact, hold on, I can't find it, but it went down a lot. I think it went down by like almost $1,400 because I filed for the exemption, the homestead exemption. I mean, I don't know if they give a veterans exemption here. I don't know in Georgia, but Fulton County, it went down a lot more than I anticipated, a lot more than anticipated, which is painful because that means I left money on the table. But my property tax went down a lot because I filed for the homestead exemption. Make sure you file for your homestead exemptions, for the love of me, please. I didn't do that for 5 years, and if I was I thought I was saving probably $500 a year by not doing it, which made me mad. But man, if I'm saving $1,300 a year because it looked like it went down that much, I was like, wow. That's a big deal. That's a big deal because I filed for the homestead exemption. Make sure you file for your homestead exemption. It's in your county. It might even be in your town. You might be able to double up. And I think Alpharetta, in Fulton County, you can do it. I think Alpharetta, you can do it on top of what Fulton County does. And I think in Marietta, too. But Marietta is a different county. But anyway, find out if there's a homestead exemption in your county and file that sucker. We had to do it by 1 April. Yeah, 1 April. So make sure you know how that works. So, man, that was a big deal. All right, let's keep going here. We got... all right, this is Ron, and let's see what Ronald says from Arkansas. All right, this is a good one. Actually, I might do this separately. I'm just going to read it. This is a good, I did not know this. Dear Josh, suggestion for a blog post or a video. Thousands of us clergy/missionaries have 403B investments. If we have ministers' housing allowance tax-free while we are working, IRS allows us to withdraw from 403B in retirement as MHA, Minister Housing Allowance, which is tax-free. It makes a regular 403B the practical equivalent of a Roth, some tax benefit. What's the problem? Financial advisors try to rake all 403B and 401ks into IRAs so they can take the amount of the money under management and thus charge their fees. Once the 403B funds move into an IRA, all MHA tax-free withdrawals are lost. You cannot go back. Oh, I have friends who've lost 30 years of tax-free withdrawals because of ignorant and or greedy financial advisors. I'd say ignorant more than anything because I did not know that. So this is nuts. If ministers have a minister housing allowance, an MHA, that's tax-free, while they are working, the IRS allows them to withdraw from their 403B in retirement as MHA, Minister Housing Allowance, tax-free. So as long as you have MHA while working, and there's no limits I could see on when you could be a 75-year-old preacher, and as long as you got Minister's Housing Allowance tax-free, you could withdraw from your 403B tax-free too. That's nuts. So my man Ron, that is huge. I'll do a separate video on that because that's fantastic. All right, so let's. I did not know that, and so if you're in the business of preaching, you should know that for sure. So let me put that on as mark is unread. All right, so here comes Jim. Asked me about the 2-bucket approach. He says, Josh, I've become a huge fan over the last few days after discovering me through Boomer Benefits. Sweet. I like the 2-bucket approach that you discussed. My question is not how do I fill the bucket, but what funds do I pull from bucket 2? So not how do I fill the bucket 1? Okay, how do I fill the bucket 1? That's their CD bucket. But what funds do I pull from in bucket 2? They're both 64. They own their own business that they're going to hand off to one of their kids. We draw rent from our business, about $3,500 a month, and able to continue it if needed. We owe nothing, no debt. We have about $550,000 in a traditional IRA. He's got a retirement check, about $700 a month. We were able to start drawing Social Security about $2,500 a month at 66, and they're living off $60,000 a year. Where do I recommend I pull the money from to fill bucket 1? I'm not following what he's asking here. Where do I recommend? I don't get it. So if you have, I don't get what he's saying. Where do I recommend to take the money from bucket 2 to put in bucket 1? Bucket 2 will be your stock portfolio. So that would be it. Are you like saying what fund specifically? I mean, I like the Wellington Fund, as I made no mince words about that. So if you have the Wellington Fund, you just pull from there. If you want to do 2 or 3 different funds, that's fine. Just take the one that's done well, then pull from there. I don't know. I don't really have anything else for that. all right, sorry about that, Jim, but yeah, I mean, for me, here's what I'm doing: Wellington CDs. All right, that's it. I'm telling you. So Wellington serves the purpose of the 3 bucket, which I've talked about before, which is you have the bonds in there. And I know, look, I say it all the time, no bonds. I get that, but at the end of the day, the facts are Wellington just is. I mean, they just done well. No other way around that. And one of the reasons that they've done well is because of bonds. Gave you that little bit of a cushion. If you don't want bonds, I get that, man. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, I'm not that aggressive, frankly. I am. I like Wellington. I like large cap value. So I'll either go one of 2 ways when I hit there. I'll maintain BTV, Vanguard, the large cap value index, because I'll just run that until I'm dead, or I'll go Wellington. And as we sit here today, all I got is VTV. That's it. So if let's just say fast forward and I'm 65 years old, like my man Jim here, would I keep VTV? Yeah, absolutely. And just move, whatever I need to pull from bucket 1 from bucket 2 with the VTV. Yep, absolutely. Keep it simple. All right, let's pause and keep going. Al writes in, he's 65. He doesn't know if he has enough in his 401k to retire in a year or two when he's 66 or 67. He's thinking about pulling from 401k to let Social Security grow. My monthly bare minimum expenses are $2,200 a month. He has 2 401ks. About $240,000 total. Okay, but he has a mortgage, about $100,000. He has an HSA $25,000 and cash at $28,000. He says my thoughts, and he needs $2,200. I'm presuming that's not including his mortgage, so he needs $2,200 on that 240 that he's got. So let's just round up and say he needs $2,500 a month on that 240,000, basically $250,000. So $2,500 a month times 12, that's 30,000 a year divided by 250. What does that give us? That gives us a 12% year over year distribution. That's too much. So you're gonna have to keep working without question until you get on Social Security. He doesn't say what a Social Security would be. So I don't know. Let's just. I mean, I don't know, man. If I knew what your Social Security would be, let's just say your Social Security is $2,000 a month. Then it's a whole different story here, because if I don't know what your Social Security is, and I don't know what your total expenses are. But let's say it's still gonna be tough. If you have $2,500 a month you need plus a mortgage, and his mortgage we'll just say is $500 a month. He's $3,000 a month. All right, and he's got $250 in assets, and we'll say he's getting $2,000 a month from Social Security. So he needs $3,000 a month, which is his mortgage and his monthly expenses. And again, I'm just going off what he says here. So he needs $3,000 a month, of which $2,000 will come from Social Security. Minus $2,000, that's $1,000 a month times 12. Divide that by 250. That's 4.8%. In that case, you're fine, brother. You're fine. Absolutely. I mean, that's, I always talk about the 5% rule. I call it the 5% rule. Yeah, you take 5% of your portfolio off a year, you're golden. Should you do that before you start taking Social Security? That's a tough one, man. He wants to retire in a year or two. I think he can definitely retire in a year or two and then take Social Security. And that's a challenge, because if you're pulling $3,000 a month, and you're doing that, you're 65, so you have 4 years of pulling $3,000 a month. That's 36,000 times 4. That means you're going to pull 144,000 from your portfolio before Social Security kicks in, which means you're going to pull more than half your portfolio. I'm not a big fan of that. That's getting too bare to the bones. So I would retire next year at full retirement age. I'll take Social Security. And then you're going to be fine without question. Yeah, you'll be fine without question. I mean, if you take Social Security, I just don't wait to take Social Security at 70. Look, it will show up as it'll be great. I mean, I'm telling you, we can run software programs all day long. You'll be like, oh, man, that worked great. Yeah, but you're still drawing down that portfolio pretty significantly. And then that's not even including a down market. If we had a down market, that'd make it worse. So I would just retire next year, take Social Security. You're fine without question. And don't forget, I'm also saying it's going to cost you $3,000 a month. That's your mortgage and your living expenses. I don't know what it will truly be, but it'll probably be less than that. But either way, I would I think you're going to be in good shape. All right, thanks, guys. We'll keep going. So my man, who I've talked about before, has emailed me. He's younger, 40 years old, and all he has is a 401k. How should he balance his allocations? Because that's all he's got. Just because that's all essentially he can afford. He takes advantage of the company match, and that would go into 401k. And he's building up a nice portfolio in there. Yeah, I mean, that's what I have. I have an IRA, not a 401k. So for me, it's VTV. I have no international. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have international. At the end of the day, as a financial advisor, I would recommend some international, certainly, and some total stock index. So in that case, 50-50, probably not 50-50. 65-35, 70-30, something like that. Was it VT? I can't remember. VOO, I think, is the S&P 500. I think VTI might be the total stock index. Let's take a look here. But some international and some domestic large cap stocks. That's the index ones. Hold on a second. VTI. Yeah, there you go. VTI. Hold on a second. Yeah, VTI is a total stock index. There you go. VTI and I guess VT is a total world stock index fund. Does that include domestic? Is that ex-US or nah? I'm not sure. So whatever the Vanguard international one, VTIAX, I think is the international index. So VTI is a total stock index, and we'll just go VTIAX is the international index. Mutual fund, it doesn't matter. Just go 70% in the VTI and 30% in the other one. Absolutely. Just, max that sucker out. Yeah. I mean, I got no qualm with that in the least. None. Hope this helps. We'll keep going. Hold on. Fun one. This is, I love this right here. So Gina writes in, I love your channel and podcast. I have a question and might make a good YouTube video. I'm 56 and my husband will be 59 and a half in October. I feel like we'll be okay in retirement and have never, ever considered taking any money out of our retirement account. We fit your example of if you have these two things, you can retire. I play that video over and over. That's good. No debt and a pension. We are what you described, the ones who worked at our jobs for 35 years, lived in the same house, and raised even more kids than I have. She hates her crappy old job and would love to quit as soon as she can. How old is she? Yeah, 56. They have well over $1 million, 1.3 in their 401ks. They have a little bit of debt, $25,000. Nothing. On an Airstream, which we use often and plan on using extensively in retirement. I'm not familiar with an Airstream is. Mattress? I don't know. I don't know what an Airstream is. But you owe $25,000 on that. We plan on having this paid off in the next 9 to 12 months. They got no mortgage, car payments, or credit cards. Is it appropriate to take 20 to 30 out of his 401k to purchase a new roof and Marcite their pool once he turns 59 and a half? He can take from a 401k from the previous job. Our roof needs to be replaced rather urgently. It will cost about $20,000. We were planning on re-roofing it ourselves in December. We replaced it ourselves last time, saved money, but it's a huge project, and we still do the work full time. For the love of me, Gina, don't redo it yourself. Oh, my goodness. Roofing is one of the, I'm telling you, I don't know what your husband's name will say, well, Bill. If Bill's up there and he falls off, it's over. Everything you save for is gone. Not because you'll run out of money, but because he's either dead or he's crippled. Don't do that. Let the professionals do it. Please, I'm begging. Anyone who's watching this, let the professionals roof your house. Please, I'm begging you. Look, I know some men got to say, I can do it myself. I don't want to pay anybody. Man, roofing accidents happen a lot more than you think. Oy. Don't do that. Especially if you have $1.3 billion sitting in a 401k. Especially if you have no debt other than $25,000 for an Airstream. We are planning on retiring in 2.5 years and are fortunate to be able to have full medical insurance as my husband works for the feds. We each have a pension. His begins at 62. Mine is about the same. If I wait to take it when I'm 65, okay, it's about 8% less each year. Our current combined income is $190. So you don't say how much you spend. I have a sneaky suspicion you're probably spending $5,000 or less a month. Gina, quit your crappy old job. Tell Bob, I always say Bob or Bill, whatever I call them. Tell Bob to quit his crappy old job and take the money out for the $20,000 off your 401k. Pay off that debt. You're gonna take $50,000 to get your house re-roofed. I don't know what the Mars site your pool is. Well, I don't know. Let's say that's $10,000. I have no idea what that is. You can tell I'm very sophisticated here. I don't know what an Airstream is, and I don't know what a Mars site of a pool is. You got 1.3 million in your accounts, my friends. You're gonna have pensions. You got no debt at all. Look, you're fruit of the earth, fruit of the loom, salt of the earth. You're fruit of the loom. You're salt of the earth people, man. I mean, you got pensions. So if you take 1.3 million, Gina. Now, you don't say if you were part of Social Security. I'm going to assume you were. 1.3 million. We times that by 0.05. That's $65,000 a year you can take from your 401k right there and right there alone. You're going to have, I don't know, we're probably another 40, if not 50,000 of Social Security. Both y'all have pensions of, what do we say, about 20,000 each or something like that. You got no debt. Quit your crappy old job and go on to something else that you want to do. It's time to do it. Absolutely. Start pulling money from your 401k in order to pay down that, because if that sucker grows, by the time you're 70, you're talking, $2.5 million, almost $3 million in your IRAs, 401ks. Yeah, tax man's loving you, Gina. So prepare. All right, hope this helps. Good job. Pat on the back to you. Again, no debt, pension, you're fine. Your problem is going to be the tax man. All right, hang in there. We'll go to another one. Thanks, guys. John writes in, a federal employee. He's done actually quite well for himself. 53 years old. He'll be retiring from the feds at 56. He's got about $900,000 in his TSP and a separate 401k from a different previous employer. He'll have an annuity, pension, federal pension as well. And he'll be able, and he wasn't CSRS, he's first, so he's in the Social Security system. All right. So you can imagine my anguish as I realize I don't have a combined $900,000 in my retirement accounts, but 12 to 32% less than when the taxes are paid. The question I have relates to your book on the tax bomb. I was planning on our retirement budget to stay within the 12% federal tax bracket. I don't see how that's going to be, brother. I guess when you're 56, you'll have your annuity that kicks in at 56. Yeah, I guess that'd be about it. But you need 100. Yeah, you're not going to be not with the income you need. You're not going to be in the 12% tax bracket. Those days are well behind you, my friend. So anyway, he says I was planning on staying in the 12% tax bracket when I hit retirement. Not going to happen. Would I be better off taking more out of the retirement accounts early in order to fill up my tax bracket at 22% or 24%? Answer is unequivocally yes, absolutely. In order to avoid RMDs at 70, unequivocally. Roth conversion should be part of the plan, but I'm just trying to figure out the approach of getting the money out of the tax deferred accounts sooner is sound versus the 4% rule. I'd love to see you. Okay. Lastly, thank you for your service. I was also in the Army and loved the no-nonsense approach of the 11 Bravos. Hearing you repeat some of the old Army idioms, phrases bring back many memories, fond and not so fond. All right, good. All right, so here's the deal. You're not going to be in the 12% tax bracket. It's just not going to happen. And this is what I deal with people all the time who got pensions. The issue with Roth conversions is where it's better to be Roth conversions if we can keep you in the 12% tax bracket, but those days are gone for you. It's good. It's a good place to be. So you're going to lose 22% of every penny you pull out from your 401k TSP. There's just no getting around that. The issue is once you hit Social Security age, it's just going to add fuel to the fire. So I'd be pulling that money out now. It's not just that adding Social Security. It's the growth on the IRA 401k TSP as well. I think we overlooked the fact there is significant growth here too. So if you got $900,000, and I mean, over 15 years, you're talking $1.5 million. No, hell, you're talking $2.5 million by the time you're 70. So $2.5 million by the time you're 70, divide that by 27.4. That's 91,000 right there in required distributions. Not good. You got to be pulling this out. I mean, because if not, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger while the tax brackets are dropping, i.e. you pay more and more tax while the Medicare premiums and all. It's just, you got to start doing it, man. So absolutely fill up your 22% tax bracket. I don't have my tax form here, but I think 22% stops at like 157. I would be doing that like stink on poop, if you know what I'm saying. Going back to our old 11 Bravo days. Sorry to offend everybody. Like white on rice, is that okay? What else could we say? Like yellow on a sunflower. That's more, yeah. Oh, that's better. All right. Hope this helps, John. Good luck to you, man. That's you're in a good position to be in for sure. All right, we'll see you. All right, so someone writes in, do I ever do a videos on protecting assets from nursing homes? My inclination that's going to be Medicaid planning, and I'm unequivocally against that. If you got the money and you've been blessed with a bounty that America is, and you can afford Medicaid, you should. I mean, you can afford to pay nursing homes, you should, because there are people who can't. And by you shielding your assets from the government in order to qualify for Medicaid, you are literally taking money away from people who can't shield assets because they don't have it. It's just no getting around that. That is not a growing pie like capitalism. Capitalism is not a fixed sliced piece of pie, and that's it. Capitalism grows as we grow, as the rising tide lifts all boats. That's capitalism. Medicaid is not like that. The government only has a certain amount of money in which to provide for people who are indigent, who can't take care of themselves. So this is my own moral thing. Look, we can argue it all day long. Don't care. If you've been blessed with the abundance of living in this country, you should pay your fair share into the Medicaid system. In terms of what nursing homes, protecting it from nursing homes, again, I find that to be, I just find it to be disingenuous. I mean, nursing homes got to get paid just like everybody else. If they're providing you a service, you should pay for the service if you have the ability. I've never understood this. Why should the government pay for your services? The government is your neighbor. I mean, you'd never go up to your neighbor and say, hey, as you're sitting in your freaking Jaguar and multi-million-dollar mansion and said, hey, you'd never go up to your neighbor and say, hey, can you pay for my nursing home? He'll be like, why? Look at you. And you'd be like, yeah, no, I'm hiding that. You don't see that. I'm hiding that. So I want you to pay for my nursing home. They'd be like, no, you pay for it. You can afford it. I got a guy over here who doesn't have a pot to pee in, and I got to pay for your nursing home. And then what happens to this guy? And then, well, you got to pay for him too? Well, who ultimately is the person paying for this? It's the taxpayer. So enough of that. So anyway, I'm not a fan. I find it to be absolutely the wrong answer from a moral capacity. You never go to your neighbor and ask for him to pay for your nursing home. Why is it okay to go to your government who forces your neighbor by the threat of violence to pay for your nursing home when you have been blessed with the abundance and wish to do so? So I don't have any qualm for that or sympathy for that scenario at all. Let's see. We got Lou writes in. Let me read this a little bit and I'll get to you here. One second. Now this is interesting. I haven't thought about this much, but man, Lou writes in, and this is interesting. Borrowing from his 401k to pay a significant amount down on his mortgage. Huh. Talk about a hedge. Anyway, let's read this. Josh, I hope you're all well. You and Dustin are my favorite go-to experts for financial planning and retirement. Thanks for all your information. I've talked to 4 financial advisors in the past 3 months. I learned way more from you and trust you compared to anyone else. Well, thank you, Mom. I'm just joking. Thanks, Lou. I have a question maybe you can elaborate on. I can't find anyone on a blog or a Google search about this. So Lou says, I have a 30-year mortgage since August 2018, and he took out a 3 1/4. It's a 3-1 adjustable, and I can pay $275 and lock it in for another year if I want to, if rates drop. Okay. So far, I borrowed $50K against my 401k and paid on principal this month. I'm planning on making another payment of $50 or $70K towards principal in September to cut most of the interest off. I could pay it off, but I'm thinking it's smarter to keep the remaining money I have in his company stock or go straight to my man Dustin over at Jazz Wealth. Of the $300K, which I think is what he borrowed, of the $300K, or maybe that's the $300K in his retirement plan. Yeah, okay. Of the $300K, $250 would still be invested, but paying down most of the interest on the mortgage, since I could afford the payments easily, I could save a lot of high interest payments and keep vested earning 7 to 8%. Does this make any sense? And why does no one talk about this? Only just paying off the entire mortgage. I'm just living the most. Okay, so anyway, he's got a snapshot here. I didn't get the last part, but anyway, so he's got so he took out the mortgage. It doesn't say how much he took out on it that I can see. Let's just say $300,000. And as of June, he had $263,000. Then in August, he borrowed $50,000 from his 401k and paid it down to knock out the mortgage to $212,000. All right. And then, I guess just last month, or he's considering another $70,000 in November. That's what it is, and they'll knock it down to $140,000. All right, so he's basically paid $120,000 early on the mortgage he just took out in August of 2018. And if he were to do that, he would loan amount was $267. Okay, loan amount was $267. Excuse me. So loan amount was $267. It was initially a 30-year loan, right? Yeah, and then so if he were to do that, he made if he were to make $120,000 early payments, his expected payoff date would not be 2048, but rather 2032. So he shaved off more than half of his payments because it would be no longer a 30-year note. It'd be I don't know, it's a 14-year note. He would shorten his monthly payments by 199. He'd have another 161 payments, but he shortened that. Instead of being 360, he shortened by 199. But here's the interesting thing. His expected total interest, if he does this, would only be $39,000, which means to be reduced by $112,000. So if he were to do that, now let's just, I don't know where he's getting $70,000 from. That's not important. The important thing is, if you took $50,000 from your 401k, let's just say you're working there as a loan, and you were to put that against your mortgage, that's interesting to me because I'm always about the hedging, man. And we know your mortgage interest, the most expensive part of that is on the front end. I have to think on that, son. That is a interesting idea. Borrowing $50,000 against your 401k, which would get that money out of the market and essentially reduce some of your risk by paying off some of your debt. That money is not in the market at that point. I get that, but it's not in the market for upside or downside. That's interesting, Lou. I'm gonna have to think on that some. That's an interesting concept. I'm going to run some tables on that to see. That might make a lot of sense, actually. For a couple of reasons. You're taking off the risk of the market being overvalued. You're reducing the risk of your debt. You're saving yourself a boatload of interest. That is interesting. I'm going to think on this a little bit, so stay tuned. Thanks, man. So Jay says, Josh Scanlon doing Josh Scanlon things. That's kind of scary, but 29-year-old engineer by profession. He's been listening to about a year since he started following me. That's great. Let's see that he likes the fact I'm telling fearmongers and naysayers to stay at bay. All right, gotcha. All right, so let's see what else. Let me get to the point. I'm curious if you can make a video for the general public. What are the tax consequences if you roll over your Roth entirely from one custodian to another? Because let's say if existing firm rolls over entire portfolio to new firm, and then new firm sells the positions to change the portfolio, in this event, I don't have any distribution, so would I be paying taxes on the long-term capital gains and qualified dividends? No, absolutely. That's a trustee-to-trustee transfer, Jay. You can do that all day long. You can do one direct rollover a year. That's just from an employer-sponsored plan to an IRA. Actually, I think they consider a direct rollover too when they send you a check from an employer-sponsored plan. So when it comes from an employer-sponsored plan to another IRA or to you, that's considered a direct rollover. And you can do one of those a year. They might have changed the rules in the last few years, but I don't think so. But a trustee-to-trustee transfer, Vanguard to Schwab, Schwab to T. Rowe Price, T. Rowe Price to Joe Schmo's Financial Planning, you can do that 365 days a year, absolutely. There's no tax consequences at all. As long as it stays under the umbrella Roth to umbrella Roth, man, you can move those back and forth until you're blue in the face. Drawback is a lot of firms will charge you a $50, $100, $150, kick you in the butt as you're walking out the door fee. So you just got to be careful there. Actually, that infuriates me that they do that. But anyway, you can absolutely do that without and no tax consequence to do it. As long as it's a trustee to trustee transfer, custodian to custodian, that's no big deal. And if you'd also explain the same if someone has a taxable account or IRA instead of Roth. So IRAs or Roth, the same thing. Trustee to trustee transfer, you can do that all day long, as long as it stays under the umbrella of the Roth or the IRA. Taxable account is different now. Taxable account, you can still do a trustee to trustee transfer, but if they sell the holdings that you have over at Merrill Lynch and you're moving it to Vanguard because let's say you have some proprietary stuff at Merrill Lynch, again, this is a taxable account, that will be a taxable distribution without question. Anytime you're selling outside of an IRA or Roth, you're going to get a 1099. Now, that might be a tax loss, might be a taxable gain, but if they're selling investments that you have at firm A in order to go to firm B, that will certainly be a taxable hit potentially. It depends on if you have any money made or show or not. Now, a lot of firms, let's just say it's Vanguard, Admiral shares, which you have at USA, and you want to do a trustee to trustee transfer, a custodian to custodian transfer, and keep the same holdings at Vanguard, that's not a taxable event. As long as it's the same holdings are kept, as long as nothing gets sold, that's not taxable at all. Also, want to hear your thoughts about effective keeping rolling overs or keeping change in mind about who to pick or long-term destination to invest. Giving up cost basis. I want to hear your thoughts about effective keeping rolling overs or changing mind about who to. Yeah, he's asking about giving up cost basis benefits and losing true power of. I'm not following you there, man. True power of compound interest. Yeah, I'm not following you. Okay, so anyway, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that second part because I'm not getting the question. You're not giving up a cost basis unless something was sold, and then you would. But and then losing true power of compounding interest. Yeah. Hope this helps. I'm not following that last part. So if you want to send me another one, I'd be happy to entertain that. All right, thanks. John from Texas writes in, he's 62 and his wife is 57. He wants to select one fund to invest $500K for the long haul. Given today's environments, which would you select for yourself and why? Man, I think I've stated this a million times a Sunday. So for me, I have no clue about anyone else's situation. So please, for the love of the good Lord, this is an absolutely antithesis of a recommendation because I don't know you. I don't know that guy. I don't even know old Betsy, what her risk tolerance is. I don't know. I don't know if you have debt. I don't know. My only holding for me is VTV, Vanguard Long-Term Value ETF. That's it. That's all I have, that one fund. So you ask what I would do for me, that's for me. No clue what you would do for you. No idea. I get this question a lot. How should I invest? And I just don't know how you should invest. And I'm not just saying this with my man John. I'm saying to anybody. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know your circumstances, your situation, your debt level, your risk tolerance. Are you going to die tomorrow? Are you going to die 95 years from now? All that stuff. No idea. Your family dynamics. But for old Josh, it's VTV or bust. That's it. Hope this helps. Stay tuned. Bill writes in with QLACs. I forgot what the qualified, I can't remember whether annuity contract, life, and I can't remember. She says, are they a good tactic in order to delay RMDs? I just didn't feel like take time researching this. I did a video on QLACs 3 or 4 months ago, and I was not, I didn't find it to be that attractive, frankly. I can't remember why off the top of my head, Gail. I just don't remember. I just remember it's like, oh, that's it. It seemed, I can't remember what it was. It seemed like once you hit the RMD tables anyway, you could only do 50%. It had to be a certain amount of, it's just the whole thing. I said, that's just too much of a burden to jump through. It was like $50,000 or 50% of your assets, and they had to be a certain asset. And even if you delayed it till, I think it was 80, you still had to take RMDs on what was left over. And even if you delayed till 85, your tables have still, your divisor has narrowed quite a bit. I didn't find it that beneficial. And I couldn't find the video, to be honest with you. So just, you have to do your research on that. But I remember I was like, oh, that's it. It's like 50% or $50,000 was all you could do, which meant you still have RMDs on this, on a portion, a big portion of your retirement accounts. And then I didn't see that big of a deal. All All right, so she is, her own situation is such that she's studying the mechanics, increased tax brackets for Roth conversions and trying to estimate feasibility. Are there tax professionals whose prime function is mapping out the Roth conversion sequence of events? When, how much taken out, how much tax due? And if doing some of Roth conversions happen after RMD start, what are the mechanics of this? The mechanics, you just say you got RMDs of $15,000. You're going to do a Roth conversion of $25,000, so you got to pay tax on $40,000. $15,000 comes out, it can't go be part of the Roth conversion. $25,000 stays into the Roth. It's just literally, that's it. It's easy as pie. Do these professionals show you tax breakdown? I don't know. If fear is going broke to pay the tax, but if one's 401k is in mid six figures, can't you pay at least some of all taxes out of the 401k? Sure, absolutely. You can pay taxes, all of it outside of 401k money, with 401k money. The IRS doesn't care. They just want the money. I mean, just remember, they don't care from where the taxes come as long as they get paid. The 401k is just a fake value. Yeah, due to your lien that you have from the IRS. 100% agree. I absolutely. And it's only going to get faker if you're not, or more fake, whatever the word is there, if you're not watching your tax brackets, which I'm telling you, a lot of people don't. And the IRS loves the ignorance, as do the politicians, because you'll pay more in the future. So I don't know how to analyze, are there professionals out there whose prime function is to do X, Y, Z? I would hope, but I just don't know. I can't speak on behalf of other professions in the business, but yeah, I mean, that's what tax people are there for. So hopefully they can do that for you. All right. Thanks for the question. This from a man, Peter in Florida. First of all, Pablo is the star of the show, says Peter, and Pablo over there knows that. Hope your shoulder is getting better. It is getting better, actually, quite a bit. I feel good. I have these bands now, and it's allowing me to at least stretch the muscles, my lats and stuff. And it felt great. My lats were sore for the first time in months. I felt great. Shoulder still hurts, but you can kind of do stuff. It's getting better, and I'm very, very excited by that. I actually able to put up 2-pound dumbbells. Whee! Secondly, my question is he has the Wellesley Fund, which is about 38% stocks, 60, we'll say 40-60 stocks to bonds. If we want to stay out of bonds, what is a good alternative with Vanguard if we want to invest 60% of our portfolio in CDs and 37% in stocks? Well, in that case, it would be the VTV again. Absolutely. If you want to stay out of bonds and you're going to have 60% already in CDs, VTV is perfect because it's literally large cap value fund stocks, which is exactly what Wellesley and Wellington both have on the stock profile. They both have large cap value stocks. So VTV is a great fit for sure. Obviously, I own it. Be advised, if I own it, you should not buy it. Anyone listening to me saying, Josh owns this, I'm buying it, you are stupid. Don't do that. I cannot recommend enough not buying what I own. I'm just telling you. So if you buy it, buyer beware. I am not saying you should buy it for your profits. I am saying I own it. If you knew my experience as an investor, you'd say, I'm going to short the VTV. But you ask, I tell you, and it's up to you to make these transactions. Anyone who listens to my investment recommendations, on you, my friends, not on me, on you. All right. That's it for the questions we have. Like I said, I keep a running tally, and we'll do this probably once a week or so. And I enjoyed it. I appreciate you all sending questions. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you next time.